Michtim is a hamster punk role-playing game about the titular Michtim's adventures. They are tiny little magical beings that lurk in the woods and have developed cybertech, but more on that later. This is Grim Ogre Laboratories' only real game, but the oddity is that this Austrian has dedicated far too much time adapting Michtim into other systems, such as Fallout 2D20, D&D Goblin Slayer, and even Shadow of the Demon Lord Shit Edition. And we all know what happens when Austrian artists get a little obsessed with things. Regardless of that, Michtim is a D6 RPG about managing your emotions: joy, love, grief, fear, and anger. Each of these with their own abilities tied to them. You'll never have many dice though, and you will always need to roll 7 to succeed. Every hit though resolves the effect, but if you set aside dice, the effect increases. So let's say for example I have a 4 in fear. If I set aside 2 of those die and I succeed, I would have 3 hide hits. So someone would need to burn more joy to actually see me. Simple enough, but when you roll a 6, you'll generate a mood marker. Each mood marker increases that particular emotion by +1, allowing you to keep it, enjoying the smaller benefits, or burn it to add an extra d6 to the roll. Cool! But since Michtim are notoriously emotional creatures, you'll take a -1 to the opposing emotion until it's gone. But what are we actually doing? Serving Michtim kind, of course. The book goes over Michtim society in detail, from their food, families, politics, thoughts on the capitalist system, and a variety of other factors. These are mostly divided into the 3 main houses. House Barsic are full-on eco-terrorists, House Garling are forming their own underground cyber dystopia, and House Tyrania exists. Tyrania exists. There was a 4th house, but we can't talk about them in good company, now can we? Truth of the matter is that you'll be getting into fights and trying to complete objectives. These fights are centered around wound tokens you're going to be taking, which often involve these fluffy little guys getting crippled, slowed, and mulched in some horrific way. But don't worry, we can survive with our callings. These classes grant us some basic abilities. While we can't invest in any of them, we can actually only use 3 of them at a time. These are very basic, however. For example, the Path of the Artist allows you to transfer mood tokens around, plucking them from your enemies and distributing them to your allies. Each of these classes is tied to the 5 emotions and does one thing to the emotions available. If I only have joy, fear, and anger for the artist, those are the only things I can affect. It's a little underwhelming for how weird some of these can get, but if you assume that this is a game for children, then, well, it's a game for kids. But basic is how I would describe a majority of Michtim. Nothing really jumps out as too weird outside the hamster punk aspect, but when you break it down, it's a D6 system about moving tokens around. Is it bad? No, it's fine. It'll keep you occupied for a bit before moving on to something else. My name is Notepad, and this was Michtim. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And many thanks to the 4th House Deep State for funding this approach to content. Godspeed and good luck.